What's up, party people? As some of you may have noticed, I haven't touched Dekaron in about 2 months now. That's mostly because I was very unimpressed with the follow-up for the Helion server, and I just didn't really feel like playing. I've been playing other games like Elder Scrolls Online and Phantasy Star Online 2. However, there was an update just recently that I thought was worth coming back and talking about. So make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you don't miss any of this epic content. Let's get this party started. Epic 5. This month, we're marking 5 years since Dekaron Global arrived on Papaya Play. How's it going, guys? So, this really got my attention because I went back and I thought about, everything that went through my head when I first found out that Dekaron was going to be transferring to the publishers Vertigo Games away from Nexon. And I actually have a video where I talk about that, and I'll probably put it in the cards so you guys can watch it if you want. And I remember being insanely excited for the prospects of moving to Vertigo Games or Papaya Play 5 years ago. Although it wasn't exactly 5 years ago. What's interesting is they're saying it's 5 years, but I made that video 4 years ago, so I'm not sure why we're at 5 years. Maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's only been 4 years. But I was so excited in that video. I was like, I really hate Nexon. They haven't been doing anything for the game, and I really hope that Vertigo Games is going to change Dekaron and make it better. Now, at the time, I did not understand the roles of publishers and developers, and I do understand that now. I know now that Vertigo Games is not the developer of the game. That is UbiFun, and they don't really get to change a whole lot of, what actually comes into the game. And for that exact reason, guys, 5 years later, 4 years later, I feel like Dekaron is in a very similar point to where it was when I was upset with it during the Nexon era. Yes, there have been some improvements. Yes, the game has gotten maybe slightly less pay to win, but overall, it's still the same pay to the top model that keeps a lot of players away from this game, and that's really disappointing. And I don't know, this just really struck me. This 5 years just really struck me, and I was so hopeful in that video, and I wish I could go back and tell myself to, not be that excited because things are not going to get any better, but that's just kind of how it goes. Anyway, let's talk about this update. So there is the Papaya anniversary giveaway, and that's just going to be a login event. The only thing that I think is potentially useful here is maybe the new ninja type costume exchange box. That's pretty nice, or maybe a unique pet egg. The reason that I don't care too much about the pet egg is because you need to have a permanent pet to do that, and to do that you have to pay for it, and I'm just not interested in doing that. So the new type ninja costume exchange box would probably be the one thing that I would be the most excited about. So beyond that, and the other thing I wanted to mention here is you get 1 token a day for the next 4 weeks. So I don't like that. It's like, so you have to log in for 25 days to get this costume. I don't know. That just seems like a lot to me. And that's just way too much work. And honestly, for a crest costume, yeah, it's a cool looking costume, but 25 days, it's I don't know. I'm just not going to do that. So another interesting thing they did is they took a look at the Arcadia Coliseum dungeon. And what they did is they reduced the amount of tokens required for making the various bracelets. Now, I have a bone to pick with this piece of content. And the main reason is, why in the world would you need to farm a level 190 dungeon to get a level 1 bracelet? Can someone explain that to me? The Blood Circulation Jade bracelet, I'm sorry, the level 130 bracelet, the Cure-All Jade bracelet. Why would you be farming a level 190 dungeon for a level 130 bracelet? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So the issue with this dungeon is you actually need decent monster damage tolerance to be able to survive in it. And guess where you get a very large portion of your monster damage tolerance from? Your Immortality Jade bracelet, which is level 165. So why do you have to farm a level 190 dungeon to get that bracelet? It makes no sense to me. Now, the other bracelets that you get from this dungeon do make sense to me. Like an upgrade to the Good Health and Long Life bracelet. Yes, it's 170, but it's only slightly better than the Immortality bracelet. Yeah, you could farm this to get that. Or the Coliseum Champion bracelet, or the God of War bracelet. That all makes sense to me. Those are high-level bracelets, but why is this the only place where you can farm the Immortality Jade bracelet besides the D shop? It makes no sense to me, And I really don't like this system at all. Now, the Blood Circulation Jade bracelet, the level 1 bracelet, drops in the Norak solo dungeon. That makes sense. So why, maybe, the level 140 dungeon could drop the ingredients you need to upgrade it to the Cure-All Jade bracelet, which is level 130. Whoa, that makes way too much sense. And then after that, maybe a dungeon like, Favnel's Nest that requires level 165 could be where you farm for the next bracelet upgrade, which guess what, is level 165. But no, for some reason, all these low-level bracelets, you have to farm at a level 190 dungeon, which people can't do because it's too hard without the monster damage tolerance. I don't know, guys. This makes no sense to me, and honestly, these reduced numbers, it doesn't even matter because the drop rate in there is horrendous anyway, and the only reason that any of these other bracelets even existed on the other server is because people were duping it like crazy. So this still makes no sense to me, and I don't know. This has to be totally reworked, or it's just going to continue to be completely useless. Sorry, that's just my honest opinion. So I'm going to move on from that. As you guys can see, I think it's a pointless update because I think the whole system there is totally pointless anyway. But at least they're trying to look at it, but it's still just bad. I'm sorry, but it's just bad in my opinion. Now, this piece of content is kind of cool. So there is currently a event with NPC Esteban located in Ardeca, and you can go to him and you can get a daily quest depending on your level, and you can get some kind of rare rewards, which are cool. So if you're level 190 plus, you would go and you would do one of these 4 dungeons, and then you would get one of these rewards. Now, what's kind of cool here is they actually added a way to get the MC2. And it's funny because the MC2 has been unobtainable for a super long time. So I think it's cool that this is now, available to farm. Although I still think it's silly that it's like you could do this every day for 2 weeks and you still could potentially not get it, and then the event ends and you're screwed. I'm sorry. I still don't like that. I think it should be more like, you do this once a day, and if you do it for 14 days, you get like a token every day. You can go get yourself a Tower of Spell helmet. Like, I think that would be way more realistic. Or, hey, guess what you craft these with? Dimensional powder. And guess what is still sitting in one of the stashes on my accounts? 7 dimensional powder. You need 10 to get the helmet, and I still have no way to get an additional 3 dimensional powder. So why would there not be like a dimensional powder aspect to this? I don't know. You're just cutting pieces of content out of the game and making more items useless, and it's just, I still don't like it. But I do think it's cool that the MC2s, there's going to be an influx of MC2s into the market, and I think that's good, especially for Helion server. The Mana Crystalline reward, I don't think this is actually necessary because you can farm Tower of Spell anyway, and it's not really that hard to get one of these. I mean, it is kind of a rare drop, but it's not that hard to get. But that's okay. Overall, pretty happy with that. I don't even want to talk about crests, guys. You know how I feel about crests. I hate the fact that it's just all about spending money, and the only place you can actually get good crests is in the D shop. It upsets me, and I'm not even going to talk about them. Now, they did mention Dragon's Nest here, and they admit that they made a mistake with kind of messing up Dragon's Nest. And I'm not going to lie, guys, Dragon's Nest is probably one of the main reasons I stopped playing, because it was one of the only dungeons that was actually worth farming, because Dekaron just, for some reason, doesn't want their dungeons to be worth farming, and I don't know why. It's like, why not give a reason to go farm a dungeon, right? Even with the examples I was mentioning earlier with farming the immortality bracelets, why not make it this dungeon, you farm this part of the bracelet, this dungeon, you farm this part of the bracelet, and this dungeon, you get this part of the bracelet. Guess what? It gives all the dungeons a use instead of just having them sit there and not be worth anything. And right now, a lot of the dungeons are they're just not worth farming. And the other thing is some of the higher ones you get like good experience from, or you get, items for crafting high level weapons. But because so many of the materials are put in through the D shop, it's not even worth actually farming the dungeon. You're better off trying to go get dill somewhere and just buying it from someone who spends money. It makes farming the dungeons useless. Anyway, that's a whole other topic I don't need to get into, but yeah. Is this update going to make me jump in Dekaron and start playing it a bunch? Guys, probably not. But I did think it was kind of interesting to think about the fact that Papaya Play has been, the publisher for, Dekaron Global for almost 5 years now. And I just kind of wanted to recap on that. Anyway, I hope all you guys are doing good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or suggestions, as always, you can leave them in the comments. And until next time, guys, take care.